Sounds good. So, welcome to the Ferrari Roma. We're on these windy sort of British B roads close to the Goodwood race circuit, and it's a very comfortable ride. But obviously when you're pressing on a little bit more, you can really feel that you're in a Ferrari. But it is really sort of nice and compliant and quite comfortable in terms of it's obviously sporty but also a Grand Tourer, and I could imagine actually going long distances in it because the seats are very comfortable and it's nice and quiet in here as well. Okay, the aluminium structure of the Roma is based on the same structure as the Portofino, but 70% of the structure is new or substantially modified. The Roma has a 3.8 twin-turbo V8, which has got an amazing 611 brake horsepower. The Roma does 0 to 62 in 3.4 seconds and tops out at about 199 miles an hour. It's got an 8-speed paddle shift. It's got quite a sort of controversial sort of gated switch gear here for the automatic. Some people like it, some people don't, but it is quite reminiscent of the old gated manuals, and you can switch between manual mode and automatic mode. And it's got these lovely carbon fibre paddles behind the steering wheel, which feel really nice. The interior is really interesting. A lot of people have complained about the sort of big phone or iPad in the centre, which is a little bit chunky, but everything else looks really modern, and the leather is really nice. It smells lovely in here as well. You've got a passenger screen as well for infotainment and other bits and bobs. The centre console is quite high, but it does give quite a nice sort of cosseting feel, very sort of driver focused, as you would expect with a Ferrari. And the actual dashboard main screen is really nice. There's lots of modes that you can switch through for infotainment, tyre pressures, different modes on the Manettino switch. For the ride modes, you've got comfort all the way through to sort of everything off for the racetrack. So how do I feel about this then? Because this is the first time in a Ferrari. I mean, it does have a very special feel to it. You can sort of tell that you're in a bit of a thoroughbred, both in terms of how it drives and also in terms of the quality of the interior and the mixture of materials. There's a lot of depth to the media in here. There's obviously lots to learn. I've only really just switched it into sport, which has firmed up the ride a little bit and also made the exhaust note a little bit more noticeable. I don't think the car is intimidating, but I think it will be the first time you drive it. There's a lot to learn. We went through with the press, the PR guys, how to drive it, or how to know all of the different modes, and there's lots of haptic buttons and lots of details, but it does feel very modern. This screen is absolutely lovely. So you're feeling something it's got a lovely mix of tradition and very up-to-date infotainment and those kind of things. But I think, as ever, when you first get in the car, you feel like you could damage it or crash it because there's so much to learn. But I think over the course of like the first week of ownership, all of those things would just become fairly second nature. But like I say, at the moment, it feels quite a lot to take in. I did struggle with the indicators a little bit, finding those, because they're not on stalks, they're just on the top of the steering wheel. And I know a lot of journalists have kind of said they're not that keen on the stuff all being on the steering wheel. But again, it's something that you will get used to over time. But first drive, it is a bit intimidating. And it certainly goes. But it feels very sure-footed. Even though that was quite rapid acceleration, it still felt safe, and I could feel the traction obviously doing its magic. So I think, wow, and certainly around the corners is pretty good as well. So yeah, it certainly starts to come alive as you press on a little bit. Yeah, the roads have opened out a bit, so it's given me a little bit more confidence to try and find, obviously not the limits, but a little bit more of what the chassis composure is like, and the sort of ride composure. And it's still good. I think it still seems like a nice mix of, it's quite docile and quite quiet, but then because of that, that sort of lulls you into that security that you're in a sort of a luxury soft car. But then the minute you press on, you really do feel things tighten up and it comes alive, and the engine note obviously starts to scream, and you do realise that you're in a Ferrari. To sum up then, I've only had a very short time in the Roma, but it is a very comfortable place to be and an exciting place to be as well. It's certainly, you can see how it is something to aspire to as a car fan. It certainly lives up to expectations. I think I probably wasn't expecting the build quality or the feel of quality that there is. So I remember Enzo used to say you pay for the engine and you get the car for free, but it doesn't feel like that so much now. It feels as though all of the edges or all of the elements of this car feel like a very nice quality product. So a lot of people would like a Ferrari with the engine behind them, but having the engine in front of you offers a lot of practicality. Certainly for somebody of my age group, I could get the kids in the back here, there's plenty of space. There's a really nice boot as well, as you can see here. So I think it is a car for all occasions, really. I could imagine using this more often than I might do if I had an F8 or something like that. Yeah, I think if you were in the market for a Bentley Continental GT, or you were looking for something that was exciting but also you could use more often and maybe do those longer journeys across the continent or something like that, I could imagine doing it in this car. So we're back at the Goodwood circuit now, so that's about it for this video on the Ferrari Roma. I'm going to put the window down for the tunnel. Here we go. Oh, blip, I love that. So thanks very much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you get the chance, and hit the notification bell as well so you can get notifications of when I release a new video. So that's about it. Thanks again. Bye for now.